Welcome back to r/JustNoHOA, where people share stories about their crazy homeowner associations that make us feel better about not living in an HOA. And in case you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Get rid of my lady lair that came with the house. Sorry HOA, you approved the sale." When we bought our house, the largest in the hood and the original showcase home for the development, there was a shed in the backyard, my lady lair if you will. And by the way guys, lady lair, I suppose that is something like a man cave? Please correct me if I'm wrong. The home sale was approved by the HOA and a letter of "no violations" was issued. All good, right? The home unfortunately came with scats of abandoned property. Within 24 hours of taking possession of our home, the former owners broke back in to remove what was now legally ours, a suitable story for entitled people. I stopped at the security guard shack to inquire about ensuring that the former owner's gate codes were inactivated and to keep an eye out for any attempt at continued entry into the gated hood. The guard assured me he would handle it and I went on my way. That evening the guard came to my home to give me additional info I might need and offered security cam footage for the police. I thanked him for taking the time to make me feel safe in my new home, but before he left he said, "Just to warn you, the HOA will go after you for your shed, they want it gone." After a bit more discussion, he informed the former owners were not only bad crap crazy, but had gone toe to toe with the HOA over the shed. 3 years and lawyers all around the HOA finally said F it, this is costing us too much money and their lawyer is better than ours, and dropped the whole thing. Within 2 weeks, I had 2 different neighbors tell me the HOA would give me problems over the shed. Fun. At the 3-week mark, an inspector from the county showed up to tell me he was investigating an anonymous complaint about code violations and the shed, visible only if you stood on my property, was in violation with the county as there was no permit for it. I was livid and already considering what avenues I had to keep my shed or win compensation for the loss of property when the code enforcer smiled a devious smile at me, handed me a printout and said, "All you need to do is fill this out, pay $50 to the county and you will be in code compliance." He then said, "That Mr. Little Man syndrome, I mean the anonymous complaint, cannot touch your shed after that." The key here is that 4 years ago when they were battling the former residents, the county did not permit sheds and the bylaws say all additional property structures require permits. If there is no permit, the HOA can order the removal and fine the resident until it is gone. 2 years ago, the county started permitting sheds and HOA was unaware of the change. I paid my $50 and got the permit, making my lady lair code compliant and untouchable by the HOA. I also made a new friend in code enforcement and all is well in my 150 square feet slice of heaven. And I gotta say guys, I'm not exactly sure if something like an HOA is more restrictive than, for example, if you would live in a country like Germany, because there, if you own a house or property, it doesn't just mean that you can build whatever you want on your property. There are so many restrictions you wouldn't believe it. Honestly, if you ask me, an HOA almost sounds like freedom to me if I compare it with some of the rules you have to endure when you own property / a house in Germany. And the next one is titled, "FHOA $750 brick wall." I just bought this house in May. It had a flare of brick around the support beams for the back deck that I really liked. Pretty much just bricks stacked up nicely around the beams. Everything was good until the beginning of October when the management company sent out a mass email saying they would be going around giving out fines for violations to include parking on the street, trash cans left outside and unapproved modifications. Again, this was already there when I bought the place, so I didn't think anything of it. Fast forward to today and I get a letter saying I have refused to remove a brick wall. Guess what they say is the brick wall? Yeah. The brick flare around the support beams. I am hoping that I can talk my way out of this and show the pictures from the listing showing the wall there before I purchased, but I feel like I am screwed. And thankfully guys, there is an update for this story. Update FHOA $750 brick wall. I spoke with the lady in charge this morning and they are reversing the fine contingent on me removing the wall. Apparently they had sent the previous owner a letter a long time ago and it got buried during the pandemic. She agreed that calling it a wall was a bit of a reach, but she was super nice and apologized, so crisis averted. Advice needed. New to HOA BOD, President talked trash about me in my absence after wine. Hello all, I am new to my HOA BOD. 4 members abruptly resigned right when the virus hit and 3 were left. 2 that have been on the BOD for 10 plus years and the other is new this year. The new guy nominated me and I was voted in basically because I have a strong social media presence and admin a large community Facebook group and tend to get community members involved in events easily. I joined so that community members felt they had a voice through me, and since being voted in, I've had many residents approach me with their concerns. I believe I am the youngest board member and I am 40 female with 3 kids, 2 in college and 1 in middle school. It is very apparent that the president, 50 to 60-ish F, who's been on the board for 12 years, hates social media, although she is also a member of the group I admin. She does not seem to understand that I didn't make the group. I was appointed to admin and then the original creator of the group, who was also a loved community member, passed away suddenly from cancer. I have kept the group going the way he intended it to be, and that is very well known in the group by most people. She also doesn't seem to understand the differences between a personal Facebook page / wall, a group and a business page. So at the last BOD meeting I was absent. This would have been my second meeting. Once they got through all the business, the wine came out and the president started trash talking me to the other board members. Apparently she thinks I am disrespectful and I respect nothing that the board has done, both of which are not true, and had she ever had a non-judgmental conversation with me, it would be apparent to her that I, like her, care deeply about our community and the residents. This went on and on until 2 people finally stood up for me in my absence. All this happened a week ago. Yesterday I received a text from one of the other newer members whose views align with mine and asked if anyone had called to fill me in on the meeting I missed. He called and filled me in and also told me what the president had said, to which I replied that it was unprofessional of her. To be honest, this is exactly why I was apprehensive of even applying to join. I have always had issues with other women talking crap about me. After years and years of this, we are military and have moved around a lot, I now have little tolerance for this behavior from women, given them no benefit of the doubt and cut them off. If friends cannot be nice and act like friends, then they don't deserve a spot in my life or my heart. I don't drink, I don't go out, I do a lot for our community, especially around holidays or when there is a need for things. I tend to be a jack of all trades and have offered free haircuts, I am licensed, for residents during the pandemic, free senior photos, photography is my side gig for the seniors whose year was cut short, including my own kid. I've taken free photos of residents from their porches as a pick-me-up service. I do a lot for this community and really try to keep a positive attitude and feel in our Facebook group, all while running a national non-profit, working a full-time engineering job, and I am a full-time student. Anyway, I've been tossing around confronting the president and or the group either through mail or at the next meeting about what was said about me. I don't want to call her out and embarrass her, but I want her to know that I know what she said about me and it was unprofessional. She has not taken the time to get to know me or talk to me personally or anything. I definitely want to take the high road, but maybe the high road is not doing anything, that she nailed her own coffin. Regardless, it was unprofessional and she should know that I won't put up with it. I deserve the same respect she gives the others and have done nothing to not receive that. I thought maybe saying something like, I want to make sure everyone has my contact info, because it seems, based on what happened at the last meeting in my absence, that there are some BOD members that didn't have my number or email or don't feel comfortable talking to me. I think I am an approachable person, although my husband says I have a case of resting bitch face and can appear intimidating. It is clear that this kind of stuff shouldn't be happening among HOA BODs, but I really didn't expect it to happen this fast, and I actually thought I would like that woman. I thought she was witty and knowledgeable, and I still think that, but now she's only solidified that. Number 1, I cannot trust her. Number 2, the others cannot trust her. Number 3, she is no different from any of the other crappy women who have done this to me, so I know there's no use in befriending her or giving her a solid chance to redeem herself. Number 4, she clearly cannot control her liquor and lets her mouth get away from her. Number 5, she did all this in front of the other board members. So what do you say, Reddit? Should I let it go or should I mention something, and if so, how, without appearing petty? And the user in the comments said, in regards to she clearly cannot control her liquor and lets her mouth get away from her, someone then said, this is a liability. I managed to piss off our HOA president to the point of screaming and yelling and threatening me with a lawsuit. They reeled her in a little bit because that is a financial liability. And another person suggested, address it directly, professionally, with zero emotion. If you do not, then the behavior will continue. If you do, it is more likely that, while she won't ever like you, she won't resort to being a douchebag because she's aware that you will find and it will not be tolerated. Essentially, make this an informal warning that further infractions will be dealt with formally and that her behavior will not be tolerated. Ignoring it is tolerating it. And guys, I would love to know, what would you suggest OP to say in this situation? Let us know in the comments, and if you have watched until here, I would just like to say thank you so much for watching my videos daily. I really appreciate your support, and if you haven't already, it would be amazing if you could subscribe to my channel, because I want to reach 29,000 subscribers this month. Thank you so much, and now let's continue. Update to the wine-loving HOA president's story. Y'all, she resigned. I took the advice of many and held it in my back pocket, which, thank you, I think that was sound advice and I really appreciated it. Last Tuesday was the October board meeting, everything was fine, I acted like nothing was really bothering me, which it wasn't, and the president and I agreed on many issues. About midway through, we needed to discuss some social media crap. Apparently, one resident got pissed off when I questioned what the difference was between 5 residents at the basketball court and 50 as long as they are residents and are not breaking laws. There should be no problem in teens playing basketball on warm summer nights. I said that unless the resident is going out and ask each of the young men for their amenities card, there's no way to know if they are all residents or not, and it is merely an assumption otherwise. The resident supposedly screenshotted only my comment and sent it directly to the president with a statement like, "Look at what your VM is saying." I am not a VM. Anyway, instead of being an adult and asking me about it privately, she belittled me in front of all my fellow board members without knowing the rest of the threaded background, the racial slurs that residents were tossing at the kids playing basketball, and some of them saying that they felt threatened by the kids being a different race than themselves. Complete rubbish. My kids, 18 male and 20 male, play ball at the courts with many residents. There's no crap going on down there, no drug deals, no gunslinging, which was mentioned by the same lady who said she felt threatened. Essentially, she's saying that my kids and their friends are all part of a murderous drug dealing gang. They are literally playing basketball. That's it. Damn right, I am going to defend my kids, all of which was thrown out by the 2 to 3 complaining residents because their little Johnny couldn't play on the courts at that exact minute. Instead of waiting until the game was over, Johnny ran home and complained to his mom, who then threw a massive fit on Facebook and got her 2 to 3 friends in on it to help. Anyway, the president jumped all over me, wouldn't show me the email, to which I finally had enough and started dropping hints that I knew of her past bullcrap at the previous meeting. At that point, another board member put her in her place by saying she was completely out of line, that we are all tired of getting lectured about Facebook, that we are adults, that we don't need our attorney to come in every meeting about this, that we all know how much she hates social media, but she needs to embrace it because it is not going away, and that she had every opportunity to talk to me privately about this but chose not to. She then got very angry, crawling across the table, seething, "You're ganging up on me, you bullies," at he and I. Either way, the vote was to allow board members to defend themselves from misinformation on social media. She didn't like it, so she resigned. As I previously mentioned, I actually liked her. I agreed with her more times than not, and she did the same with me. Oh well. And guys, please let me know in the comments if you enjoy r/JustNoHOA stories, because if you like them, I will of course continue to do them every now and then. To be honest with you, ripe stars, I would actually love to do JustNoHOA more often, but there are just not that many good stories to choose from, or maybe I just haven't found the right source yet. And the next one is titled, "I led a revolution against our petty HOA board." My wife and I moved into a 64 townhome community that was 10 years old at the time. The HOA board was comprised of 5 members that were original homeowners when the community started and had been the sole board members since the community started. Their sense of entitlement was absolutely crazy. They thrived on their quarterly walkthrough of the neighborhood, as they would write up every single home for some kind of violation, regardless of how minor the offenses were. Everyone gets a violation letter. Our first letter, the first month living there, was that our garage door paint was starting to peel. It was a 2 cm scrape where the panels met, it needed to be repainted, the siding needed to be power washed, there was a patch of green moss behind a bush, and the sliding door on the deck was dirty, there was dirt on the bottom of the door from recent rain, and it needed to be washed. We had 30 days to fix the issues, or beginning accruing a fee of $25 a day until they are resolved. I asked around, and everyone gets these ridiculously petty letters every quarter. No matter what you did to maintain your townhome, you were going to get a letter about something. As this was going on, none of the major items the neighborhood needed fixed were addressed. After a decade since the construction, the ground had settled unevenly, and many homes had standing water issues where it couldn't drain after a storm. The rainwater would sit for 5 to 7 days in people's lawns. And more importantly, there had been a legal fight with the town since the community was started about our road being dedicated, meaning the town was responsible for snow removal. Our HOA dues included paying for our own snow removal, which we shouldn't have to, and we were paying an attorney for 10 years to fight this with no resolution in sight. Fast forwarded 2 years, and a few of us had enough and decided to band together to replace the board at the next annual meeting. The existing board got wind of this and hit us all with pages worth of issues with our properties, since if you have outstanding issues, you are not in good standing with the community and thus cannot run for a board position or even vote for those running. This petty move brought the community even closer, and we all spent the weekend before the meeting helping each other clean out their HOA honey-do lists, and we took pictures, documented everything, and then we had the US mail certify delivery of each packet with the completed list and photos to the HOA board, who lived 75 feet away. Come board night, oddly enough, the lawyer was there to give an update that no progress has been made with the township on dedicated our road. He stuck around as we moved to the elections for the next board. We brought our signed petitions to add our names to the ballot. The board says we are not eligible as we have all outstanding issues with our property. We call bullcrap with our receipts from the post office that they received our completed lists with documentation. They reply that they haven't reviewed them yet. We tell them that is not our problem and we are in good standing. Their lawyer, overhearing this, states we are eligible to be on the ballot if we can confirm the issues with our homes were resolved prior to the meeting. The HOA president glares at the lawyer, but the lawyer just shrugs, saying, "The rules are the rules." With the exception of the 5 existing board members voting for themselves/each other, we are voted in nearly unanimously to replace them. I led the revolution because I was tired of the petty BS when there were real problems in the neighborhood. Sadly, the rest of the elected board members vote me as president. I have no idea what I'm doing, but we spent the next few sessions removing all the dumb violations from most of the neighbors. We went through the bylaws to really focus on what is important. What happens next? Ends up that lawyer was a friend of the previous president and was in no hurry to resolve anything as he was enjoying our excessive bill. I notify him if it is not resolved in the next 6 months, we are finding new representation. He was actually good at his job when pressed to do it, he won the case, the town appealed and tried to drag it out. He fast-tracked the appeal as it had been going on for 10 years and we won the appeal too. The town dedicated our road and then the lawyer pressed that it should have been done years ago. It wasn't him slowing things down, but the town. He ends up getting us a settlement from the judge for back pay on us, paying for snow removal that the town was responsible for. We ended up using that settlement to have French drains installed across much of the community to clear the standing water issues. With the money left over, we fixed a lot of the neighborhood issues that the HOA should have been doing the whole time. Fences and sidewalks in disrepair, replaced dead trees and shrubs, etc. It was great getting all that done without having to hit our capital reserve fund. I remained president until we moved a few years ago. Our family began to outgrow the townhome and now we live in a new larger development with a new HOA. I was asked to run for a position on it. I replied, not a damn chance, but I will lead a coup d'etat if I need to. Edit, one minor update on what happened to the former HOA president that I replaced. The original HOA president, 50-year-old male, was not actually eligible to be president. He was not on the mortgage, the townhome was in his mom's name, no one knew because he held the books. The best was at the next annual meeting, he shows up with his petition to try and get his position back. I tell him in front of the other 60+ homeowners that he cannot even be at the meeting, let alone vote or be on a ballot, as his name is not on the property. But his mom is eligible if she wants to. That was embarrassing enough for the entitled little prick. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.